But at the same time, he does have a very interesting backstory. And especially what happens to his character later on in the film, and then when you tie that to his backstory, makes what happens to him later on in the film kind of uncomfortable to watch. I mean, the scene itself is pretty uncomfortable, but just taking the backstory into account, it really does. And then you've got Richard Dreyfuss's character. You could easily become like a bit of a geek stereotype, but he is a very quirky character. All characters are very realistic, and something I appreciate also is being that it's a film set mostly on a beach. Films like that nowadays, you'd often make sure it's all eye candy. Not only have bright blue oceans, bright yellow sands, and of course, perfect looking people with those great bodies. The new Baywatch movie, is a great example of that. This one, however, it's got like a bit of kind of got like this grey sort of overtone. You can see the colour there, but it's kind of muted. So, and all the characters, all the people on the beach, they all look like real people. They're not models. They do look like real people, and it gives that sense of realism. You feel like that is a real beach. Those are real people. This could happen anywhere. And you don't see, Zac Efron or some Pamela Anderson wannabe, running in slow motion. You see real people on this real looking environment, and I appreciate that. And it's got two. It's almost like two films where, like I said, the first half is kind of like almost like this conspiracy. What's to be done about this shark, and who's to be blamed. And the second half is like a buddy movie. Our three main characters are in the boat, in the yacht in the middle of the ocean, hunting down this shark. But that's pretty much the entire second half of this film, and it doesn't drag at all. It actually is very well paced, and all the characters have great chemistry. The three actors, they all work each other perfectly. And the shark itself, like I said, you don't really see much of it. When they do finally reveal him, it's all practical effects, and I think you can tell there was a bit of problem behind the production, because I read somewhere that they couldn't get the effect to work as much as they wanted it to. So that's why they had to rely on character reactions, of showing less. And that's a blessing in disguise, really, because there's nothing that they could show couldn't top what we ever imagined. And you can sort of tell when on close-ups of the shark, you can tell the effect. You can tell the shark is kind of fake, but it's still a practical effect, and the shark is still pretty intimidating. This film is a classic, and it's aged quite well considering. And I think it's one of Spielberg's earliest, isn't it? I don't know if this came out before. Did this come out before E.T.? I can't remember. I wasn't around back then. And of course, this became a franchise, and there are 3 sequels. I don't recommend any of them. They all pretty much have the same plot as the first film. The second film tries to make it a bit of a slash film because it focuses on a lot of very, very annoying teenagers, and you don't care if any of them live or die. Roy Sheider returns as Brody, and that's kind of the saving grace. But even then, he's not in it enough to save the film. The third film is, of course, Jaws 3D. Has some of the worst 3D effects. Maybe it looks great on an actual 3D viewing. I've never seen it in 3D. But on just like a normal telly, it looks awful. But it is set in SeaWorld, which is a great idea. Yeah. But it's not very well connected to the first two either. They have Dennis Quaid playing one of the sons of Chief Brody's sons from the first film, but they make very little reference to the first film, and he's pretty much just called that Michael Brody, just so they can have some sort of connection. And then there's Jaws: The Revenge, which supposedly the true Jaws 3, because they got Michael Brody in that one, played by a completely different actor who looks nothing like Dennis Quaid and has a completely different job.